Hey, and welcome to Matt and Jess TV. I am Matt Roast here with Jessica Bun Bun, and this is our From Season 3, Episode 7 reaction and review. Listen, From is a dark place. Bad things happen all the time. I still did not expect the death of Tilly at the end of this episode at all.
No, I mean, there's been so many people in the From fandom that have
Yep.
thought that Tilly was some sort of bad presence there, that she was in on it. There was more to her, that she was just a bad thing that was happening there. And then here we are. And I believed it too, that there was more to Tilly than we thought. And maybe there still is. However, with her dying in this
Yeah.
episode, I was like, oh no, maybe there isn't more to her than I thought that there was. It was really shocking to me
Yeah.
because I had really bought into the idea that there was something more to her.
Well, that's what this show needs to continue to do is constantly sort of fake us out from what we think we know
Yeah.
about this community. Because I thought too that, okay, maybe there is something to Tilly as a prophet or somebody who can predict the future and her cards. There's something a little bit more going on here than we know.
I mean, she did say to Fatima right before she died, quote, "You have to run." So I think she knew something, but I mean, there was a lot of feelings out there that Tilly was just not a good
Yeah.
person, that there was something more nefarious going on with her.
No, and stating, here we go. Tilly is gone. Fatima, you in trouble. I don't know what happens to you at this point.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Donna was already really worried about what was going on with her and had that talk with Boyd to be like, yeah, maybe her and Ellis are going to have to move out of Colony House. Maybe for just now. Like, I can't really trust what's going on with her. And here we are. But before we get too far
Mhm.
into that, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We're here every week talking about From, one of our favorite
Yes.
shows to talk about here at the channel. And if you're looking for just some other great thriller shows that are going to be coming up, we're also going to be covering Silo here and Dexter
Yeah.
coming up in December. So hit that subscribe button and stick with us.
If you guys do want to support us more, join our Patreon. We have a link in the description below. And over there, we are covering exclusively right now The Penguin, which is on HBO. It has been a lot of fun. And we're going to continue to have a lot more fun over there moving in further to November because we're covering exclusively Landman on Paramount Plus and then also Dune Prophecy on HBO. Thank you so much to everyone supporting us on Patreon. It
Thank you.
really helps us to make these videos that we love to do so much.
Okay, let's talk about Ellis. Oh,
Okay. All right.
my heart is really breaking for him. I mean, after losing his mom and everything that happened there, and now he's here dealing with his wife who
Yeah.
has learned that she's not pregnant, but something is going on with her, and she knows and can feel that things are changing with her body. We saw things changing with her body. She thought she saw, nobody else saw. What do you guys think is going on here? I think tinfoil
Yeah.
hat, she might be turning into a monster.
Okay.
When I
Here's
saw her rib
yeah.
cage, I was like, she looks a lot like Smiley.
This is the thing. At first, I was hesitant about it, but now I think you're right. I think that is exactly what's happening. It's just there's too much evidence going for it one way or another. Like for a long time,
Yeah.
I just thought that maybe the town was messing with her, as
Yeah.
simplistic as that seems, that it made it to want her to think that okay, she could be pregnant, she could be having this dream come true that she never thought was going to be possible, and then it was going to rip it away from her, and like that is
Yeah.
all still really horrible. But once we are getting to this point, which you said it perfectly, she is bearing more of a resemblance to Smiley. Like that feels like something worse. And that feels like something that if the town was simply just taunting her, would it have to be more direct in what it was saying at that point? I'm not sure the town, if it was really trying to horrify her with the thought of becoming a monster, wouldn't it just like blatantly come out and say, oh, you're becoming rather monstrous now, Fatima?
Yeah, I mean, ever since she had that night at the sheriff's office, at the post office, where
Yeah.
she really broke down, she's really just continued to go down into this darkness, into this hole. And the town breaking her apart finally, the one person who's the most positive is like, oh, if you look up over everything, even the most horrible places can be beautiful. beautiful. If you can break her,
Yeah.
then and you can actually bring her over to the side of the monsters, then you can break anybody in this town. And as we saw sort of her descent, where it was like, oh, they gave her this hope. Oh, you might be pregnant. Oh my goodness, they said
Yeah.
I never could. What a miracle. Oh, now you're eating rotten food. You're drinking blood. All these things that are you're eating the horrors of this town, that those are the things that are coming into your body that are changing you into the monster. So when Tilly said you have to run, it felt less like you have to run because something is going to happen to you, but more like you are turning in the monster and you are going to be the thing that happens to this town. You have to run.
And that's a scary thing to come to realize. And if Fatima does come to realize it, and maybe she will in the aftermath of this, and she's not even thinking like herself anymore, like
Right.
what do you do at that point? Like the big question that I'm still struggling to find resolution to is, okay, if Fatima is turning into a monster, how did this happen? Like what's the catalyst? Is it just the town waking up one day and deciding, okay, this is it? Or is there something deliberate that she did? Because then the problem, and maybe this is intentional, if she didn't do anything directly herself to become a monster, is this just going to make the town so paranoid that anything they do could turn them into a monster, and that is going to be sort of the horror that comes with it?
Yeah, I think it's probably that they just chose her because they finally broke her. They saw that happen at the sheriff's office where they were like, "Oh, this person can actually be broken. Cool. Then we're just going to keep on bringing her over to our side. We'll let her think she's pregnant so that we can get her to start eating rotten food. She will start to eat the rot of this
Yeah.
town and it will rot her and turn her into one of us." I
Yeah.
think she was just chosen.
Well, we spoke to Pega, who plays Fatima on the show, and
Yep.
like one of the things she really talked about was just how difficult it was to even just shoot that scene, because you're having to take out somebody who is just, a part of a community, somebody come to know and love on the
Yep.
set, and to then just have that go like that. It's pretty devastating. I mean, she did also note that there are answers coming eventually, and that viewers may be satisfied by the end of the season. So we'll see. I mean, we all know, because From is one of those shows that we all have our own theories as to what's going to happen.
Mhm.
I know there are a lot of people who will be upset if it's anything other than their version of what they think is happening actually turns out to be the truth. I am from the standpoint of, as long as you can make everything make sense, I can be on board with it. You guys just have to find a way to make it make sense.
This is the thing about Fromville.
Yeah.
This town does make you think things that aren't really happening. We saw that with Abby. Now we're seeing this with Fatima, where she thinks that she's pregnant. And either a couple of things are happening here. Either she's not pregnant at all, and the town is making her think that she is, to
Mhm.
kind of drive her wild into this madness, like what happened to Ellis's mom, or there is something in her and the ultrasound just can't see it because it's not exactly what they're looking for, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
It's not exactly a baby, but something is growing.
I think one of the things that I'm going to be very curious about moving into the next few episodes is just that in the aftermath of this, provided that it becomes public knowledge what Fatima did, because that's still not clear. But
Mhm.
if it does, what does the town do to react to this? Because we've already seen what they did to Sarah when they
Yeah.
decided, oh, Sarah is a killer. They found ways to, seek out punishment or retribution or
Right.
all of these other things. But if they start to approach these deaths from this other angle of, okay, this is clearly not you, and they should be realizing this more than ever with Fatima, because they know this is not her, somebody who is going to kill people. Are you actually going to then be able to come together, communicate, and maybe start to figure things out? Because if Fatima is, and this is something you alluded to, if she is going down this like dark descent of despair, it's a lot of D words, but anyway, you really are putting it in a situation where you're going to make everybody paranoid and point fingers and go against each other. You guys just got to realize that's what the town wants.
Yeah, like I don't know how the town deals with this. Like I know it was a bit different with Sarah, where she had voices that were
Yeah.
like, oh, if you kill this person, we'll let everybody go. Okay, one for the many kind of thing. That isn't what happened here, where Fatima turned around and, stabbed her. That it wasn't necessarily on purpose, but not exactly on accident. It's kind of in this weird gray area. It's not Fatima. She wasn't doing this on purpose to be like, this is a well thought out, I'm going to murder
Yeah.
this person because XYZ. It didn't work out like that. So how will the town come together on this? Is she going to be put in the box, be like, hey, even if you make a mistake, you get put in the box? We saw that really early on with
Yeah.
that family and that husband that was like, no, I should be in the box, and I'm going to be in the box.
I think it's a possibility. I think there's going to be heated debates about it, but I think what is a fun thing to do? Okay, maybe fun's not the right word, but what is a thing to do at this point in the season is look at, here are all the ways the town wants these people to be fighting with each other. We have now Fatima and what Fatima has done. We have, and we should not forget that Randall is still out there. And I do not believe that Randall is suddenly going to become a Boy Scout. That feels very, very unlikely.
No, but I love this relationship with him and Julie, where it's like, you didn't get to learn how to drive. Let's take it. Reminded me of Lost when they found the car and they were driving it around. I was just like, it's so nice when you have a show that's so much horror, like Lost, like From, and you have a little more of a lighthearted moment. I know it only lasted for a second, but it was still really nice. I don't know how I ended up here. But I am on this Randall redemption arc that I never thought that I'd be on.
Okay.
I know there were some people that were on it last season in the comments, and I was just like, I don't think I'm ever going to get there. And here I am on Randall Island being like, you drive that van.
Okay,
You teach her how to drive. Look at you big brother.
I may have been on Randall Island for a moment, but I am actually now on a paddle boat just paddling away.
All right.
Because I feel like they are sucking us in with this Randall redemption tour, that Randall's going to pull out the kerosene in this next episode and light everything on fire, because this town is going to find a way to cause more chaos. And it would be nice if Randall comes around. It's not that I don't trust him. I don't trust the town. They want there to be a fight. It's like, okay, you guys are going to try to find a way, I know it, to get people fighting about Sarah again, which, by the way, I have been on Sarah Island, and that is probably also going to bite me in the butt in a very big way. Let's also not forget that at some point, Victor may be showing up to these people being like, I have answers, and they're with this puppet. Like, how many people are going to be willing to, like, be in agreement about that?
Jade will be in agreement about this. That is the one person that Victor needs to go and talk to. He is the only person that has seen Christopher in visions. He has seen the symbol in visions, and he saw Jasper in the same vision at Colney House. He has seen this. That is the only person Jasper is going to talk to. And that's always been kind of my thing about the people in Fromville, that they do not share information, not nearly enough. They're starting to, but they need to share more information. Whenever you have information, everybody gets together and see if any of this information crosses over, because Jade's going to see Jasper and be like, I have seen this before.
Yes, I agree with you. I think that's where we actually need to see things go with Victor. What I think Victor is going to do first, judging from what we saw at the end of this episode, is because these conversations are not fully happening.
No, they're one-sided.
Yeah, he's going to go over to the basement. He's going to go down there. This is where secrets are told, and he's going to think that, okay, I'm in the basement now with Jasper. Jasper's going to tell me all the secrets, and, maybe this is him playing a trick on himself. But there is a certain amount of irony to this idea that Jade, as you've sort of laid out, is the person who could bring a lot of people together, and he is the person who has been most branded perhaps as the town crazy person for the better part of the past couple of years, when in reality, he in his past life brought people together. He was the leader. He had a successful business, and the idea of Boyd maybe having to secede a little bit of control and sort of separate himself from it and give that over to Jade Man, would that be fun.
Yeah, it would be really fun. And I mean, Victor and Jade do have a pretty decent relationship. So I feel like at some point, hopefully this season, we will see the two of them back together again and that they will share this information about Jasper and just get some answers.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a big stepping stone. And I think that's what a lot of these next couple of episodes are for. Like, I'm going to just speculate here as well that we've seen all of this stuff with Boyd and Acosta, who is the new cop who I continue to think is about to die at any given moment. But
She's the new Randall. She's just there causing problems.
yeah, she's the new non-fun version of Randall. Like, I can at least be with you on Randall Island and that the character is fun to watch. And he's like, Acosta's not super interesting to me right now, but I think she's there mostly to teach Boyd about the idea of, okay, you got to not be the boss all the time. You got to let go of some control. I don't think you need to let control go to Acosta because she don't know what she's doing about anything.
No, but we've seen this already from Randall and other people that show up here where you're looking for answers.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on. People go through this. So it feels like we just need to get to the other side of it where she just accepts that this is what's happening.
Yeah, I will be glad when we can kind of move away from her at least a little bit. And then we can move that time over to our guy, Elgin, who you go, okay, I wanna sit here and act like I've got these huge theories about it, all this different stuff. I still have almost no idea what's going on with Elgin, and we're in episode 7.
No. So the Polaroid is definitely coming into play
Yeah.
here where it takes a picture of by itself and it's of this root cellar. And he goes to the root
Yeah.
cellar. He figures out that he can move this cabinet and behind is a secret room that has a dead body in it
Yeah.
and a bed. And it looks like somebody had stayed under there. And here's the lady in the kimono again. And it's
Yeah.
just like, I really wish this particular story would move along a little bit faster. It feels like the slowest part of this season where they're just not giving enough with that for me to have enough theories that's really kind of going on with this.
Yeah, there was like a weird line in one of his last scenes that was kind of like, oh, well, that's how this is happening, or something kind of akin to that. And it was like, is this where, does Elgin think that this is like where the monsters are made? Or does Elgin think that like this is where certain ideas in the community are born out? But it was just, it's all so vague. Like, that's the problem with Elgin's story right now, is it is so vague. This kimono woman isn't really attached that much to any other character. And unfortunately for Elgin, like, I really like Elgin a lot because I think I probably relate to him more than a lot of other people on the show. I can be a little bit shy and soft spoken, when I'm not acting like a crazy person in videos, but like I understand a lot of what he is going through, but he more than anybody else needs to find confidence and needs to find a way to sort of get this message out there.
Yeah, he does. I feel like, again, it's about people coming together. Donna said it really great earlier this season that, it's not just about the monsters and what's going on, that this place is about the people and the people coming
Yeah.
together and connecting and protecting each other. And he just needs a partner in crime that's around him a little more than Julie is, because Julie's doing all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
But he needs somebody that's willing to go on this journey with him where it's like, oh, I've got this picture of this root cellar. Hey, so and so, would you like to come with me? Like, you're in a town of terrors and you're not
Yes.
going to tell anybody where you're going. You're just going to hope for the best. Why?
Everyone's sole goal at this point should be, okay, we need to find a way to get out of this, so let's put every other fear or insecurity we have to the side. We have seen that somebody can get out of this, and I still feel like the show is all about overcoming destiny, and it's still about overcoming this idea that you have to be stuck there and you can go through this and fulfill whatever great things you're destined to do on the other side of it. But the problem is that the town's intentionally throwing everything at you, and you're throwing things at yourself, because
Yeah.
that's what we all do in life a lot of times. We have like these big grand dreams of, oh, I want to do X, Y, or Z. And then either real obstacles turn up, we doubt ourselves, and there's kind of a little bit of a metaphor that's going on between that and this show, where a lot of these doubts and fears are actually literal and in
Yeah.
the community there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk a little bit about Kenny, because this is the first episode in a few where I actually kind of felt a little better about his story.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, okay. I clearly maybe I'm on Kenny Island
Yeah,
with
no,
this
I'm
story.
feeling like they don't have enough for him to do. That it's just kind of, yeah, he's working a little bit at the diner and then he's going to be moving to Colony House and that's what's happening with him. I know he tried to have this talk with Acosta to try to help her figure it out, but this is a talk that we've seen on this show a bunch of times as people come to town and they end up having this talk and that's fine. But like Kenny needs something to do
I understand where
except pour me a tea.
See, I like the idea of you reopening the diner, Kenny. I think this could be a fun, interesting storyline for you to find yourself,
Yeah.
to honor your mother. Like, it's still not enough. Like, I hear you. I understand what you're saying. Like, I will say that oddly enough, the person I'm feeling the most about this right now is Boyd, which is odd because Harold is like the lead of the show. I can't sit here and be like, where's the defined Boyd storyline from the past couple of weeks? It feels like he's just waiting for the next big event to happen, and he's not really that proactive at the moment in like trying to resolve X, Y, and Z. It's more his job to just come in, get people in line, occasionally let Harold cook by having him yell at somebody. It's just I want a little bit more there for Boyd.
No, I agree. I thought that this season was really gonna break Boyd apart.
Yeah.
That's what the monster set up in the very first episode. Oh, we can't break you? Yeah, well, we'll see about that. And I thought this was just gonna be like a chain of events of just like piling on the pain on Boyd. And while he, of course, has had that,
Yeah.
he had that with what happened in the premiere, he had that with the choice he made about Randall. I expected the monsters to be really putting the pressure on him.
Yeah, and I don't know why that isn't happening. I mean, the only thing I can think of is that maybe they're luring him into a false sense of security where they're making him feel confident again and making him feel better, and then they'll break him. And because that's a very interesting sort of psychological way to go at it, is just like, oh, we're going to try to continue to give you a tiny inkling of hope. And maybe it's really even worse to start to go up the hill and then get knocked back down than to constantly be sitting in the ravine.
Yeah.
But that's what we got here on From Season 3, Episode 7. It does feel a little bit like, in comparison to some of the other episodes this season, there wasn't necessarily as much stuff going on here, though it was pretty accented by a hugely traumatic death in the final moment.
Yeah, and they really did need to take the time to flesh out what was going on with Fatima. And while we don't have all the answers, I think we have a lot more than we did.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. I'm excited about where we're going heading into the end of this season. You don't have to give us all the answers. Like we've always said, just give us something. Don't make us just starving and having stomach aches for the entirety of the hiatus here. We
Yep.
don't want to start eating rotten food.
No.
Okay. Before we wrap everything up, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and you can support us further by joining our Patreon. We have a link in the description below. We're covering the Penguin exclusively over there. Thank you guys so much.
you.
Your support means the world, and we'll see you here next time.